welcome back to the channel. One take Tony here. I'm going to get it right first time if it kills me. Before I go any further, a couple of quick shout outs. The first one is to a man named Bernie Rao. I don't know whether you remember, a few months ago I watched and talked about a movie called Killer Sofa, a low budget horror movie from New Zealand, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. Well, the director and producer of that movie messaged me over YouTube. Quite surprised about that one. Even more surprised he's subscribed to the channel. So welcome to the family, mate. Nice to have you aboard. And also a quick shout out to James Sanders, possibly the nicest security guard in the world. Works at my place. Thinks my voice is very, very soothing. So enjoy this one, James. First off, let's start with a bit of a rant, kind of. I put a trailer on the Facebook page earlier this week for the Disney Plus production Home Alone. Yeah, you heard me right, Home Alone, the classic 1990 movie, Macaulay Culkin. Disney Plus have remade it. I put the trailer on the Facebook page and it got quite a reaction, and not a positive one. There wasn't a single positive, oh well, maybe it'll be good. I think we all pretty much know that it is not going to work at all. The problem is, the movie is, it's one of those iconic movies that you can't better. It was brilliant in its day. It is still held in very high regard. A lot of people have a very sort of soft spot for this movie. Why on earth would you want to remake something like that? I don't get it. From what I saw on the trailer, the kid that plays Macaulay Culkin's role has got none of the charm that he had, if he had any. But this kid is just not. It's not going to work. It really isn't. I gather from the comments under the trailer that nobody is actually going to be watching this, or very few people will actually be watching it. The only people it might appeal to is obviously kids that have never seen the original and want to see what it's all about. But I honestly cannot see the point of it. And remakes, yeah. Quick story for you. I went to see The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog, in 1980. Scared the hell out of me. Brilliant horror movie. John Carpenter was just the absolute king of horror in the sort of late 70s, early 80s. You had Halloween, you had The Fog, the absolutely brilliant The Thing in 1982, Prince of Darkness a little bit later. You also had Assault on Precinct 13 in 1976. His movies are just amazing. And a few years later, around about 2004, I read on the internet that they were remaking The Fog. And my first reaction was, wow, can't wait to see what they've done with that. Watched the trailer when it was released a few months later and thought, yeah, looks good, looks brilliant. Watched the movie and straight off thought, oh, is that it? It was pretty much a copy of the original with none of the scares. It had nothing, not for me anyway. I've tried to watch it since, probably 2-3 years ago. I think it was screened on something like the Sci-Fi Channel or the Horror Channel, and my opinion hasn't changed. I'm sure it's a good movie in its own right if you've not seen the original, but if you've seen the original, you know that it doesn't get any better than that. There are a lot of other movies that they've remade over the years. Straw Dogs. Oh, what was the point of that one? They set it in the Deep South in America. It was obviously a lot more violent than the original in 1971, even though the 1971 version, the Sam Peckinpah movie, is still really, really uncomfortable viewing. But the point they seem to miss with these remakes, especially something like Straw Dogs, is Straw Dogs was shocking in 1971, mostly because we'd never seen anything quite so graphic or violent as that before. Nowadays, movies are just violent anyway. So there's nothing really that they can do to improve on that. And as for making them better, they don't make them better at all. Most of them are just pretty much exact copies of what you've already seen, but nowhere near as good. Um, so Straw Dogs was a complete dud for me. Again, probably good in its own right, but did nothing for me. And I had a comment passed by a colleague at work. Lee Barber told me that if they ever decided to remake Back to the Future, he would stop going to the cinema altogether. Now, the only movie that I can think of that I would probably say that about is maybe A Clockwork Orange, or possibly Saturday Night Fever, but mostly A Clockwork Orange. Again, a legendary movie, 1971. 71 was a brilliant year for scandal films. Um, but again, A Clockwork Orange, it was violent, it was controversial 50 years ago. And if they remade it now, all they would do is make it more violent, more sexually explicit. I don't really see the point of it. And the excuse that they usually give for remaking these movies, oh, we want to introduce them to a younger audience that have not seen them before. Well, here's an idea: show them the original, because there's nothing wrong with them. The Fog, absolutely nothing wrong with them. A brilliant horror movie, jumps in all the right places, brilliant acting, superbly done. John Carpenter at his best. The remake, I couldn't even tell you who was in it. Oh, I could. No, forgotten. Tom Sizemore, something like that. Did he play Superman or something like that? Totally forgettable. So that's my take on remakes. I don't really, most of the time, see the point in them. You may have a different opinion. Somehow I don't think so. But the other question is, when they remake these movies, why don't they remake something that didn't work the first time round? Why do they have to keep tackling these movies that are iconic, that cannot, in our opinion, be better? You see, the thing is, we saw them all years and years and years ago. We have very fond memories of these films, and nothing that you do to remake a movie that we have those memories of will make it any better. All it does is kind of sullies the memories that we've got of it, and I don't see the point of that. It just alienates your audience, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. There are more coming up. There are hundreds of remakes. I couldn't name any of them off the top of my head, but I remember reading a feature a few months ago basically saying that there's something like 150 remakes in the works at the moment of movies that we've already seen. I can only hope there are movies that we've seen before that didn't work, and that possibly they can make better. That'd be nice, but let's see what happens. On to Bond. Also put a post on the Facebook this week about a possible new Bond in Charlie Hunnam, who you may remember as Jax in Sons of Anarchy. The first time I saw it, I wasn't sure about it, but the more I read it and the more I look at the picture of him in the tuxedo striking the pose, the more I think, oh, maybe. And now it turns out Tom Hardy is back in the running for it. And a few months ago I was all for Tom Hardy. Now I'm not so sure. Maybe Charlie Hunnam could just about pull it off. I don't know, but we'll see on that one. That one was straight down the middle. There were a few people on there that were quite in favour of it. Most of them were not in favour of it. I believe he's a Geordie, so I don't know quite what they do with the accent. I'm not sure about the voice, full stop, actually. But he's certainly got the look to carry it off, but we'll see what happens with that one. What have I been watching recently? Last night, pizza and a movie night. Elm Street 2, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddys Revenge. Excellent sequel. Really, really good. I remember not liking it very much when I first saw it, probably 35 years ago. But I really enjoyed it this time round. The one thing I noticed more than anything is that it was a lot more violent than the first one. A lot more violent, but all the more enjoyable for it. There was a lady in there that I recognised and I could not place. I had to stop the movie and actually go on the IMDb and find out who she was. The lady that plays the mother is actually Hope Blanche, who played Charles Bronson's wife in Death Wish. I had to find out. That would have driven me absolutely nuts for the length of the movie, trying to figure out who it was. But yeah, that's her. And I do remember thinking there was a very similar, a lot of similarities to a movie called Amityville 2, The Possession, which was released probably 2-3 years before that. Um, it had a kind of a similar theme running through it. A young man possessed by some kind of a spirit. Obviously, this one was in the Amityville house, and this one was in the one I watched last night was in Freddy Krueger's world. But yeah, I did notice a lot of similarities between that, and if you've ever seen Amityville 2, you'll know what I mean. Um, but yeah, really enjoyed Elm Street 2. Looking forward to getting into Dream Warriors, which is my all-time favourite Elm Street movie. So that's going to be next Saturday without a doubt. Um, the other movie I had a chance to catch up with last night was Halloween Kills. Wow, really enjoyed that one. It was certainly better than the Halloween that came a couple of years ago. It was about 2018. Loved the way that they brought back all the old characters from the original 1978 Halloween. And if you've seen the original Halloween, as many times as I have, you will know all these people straight off. Tommy Doyle, Lindsay Wallace, who were the two kids that Jamie Lee Curtis was babysitting in the original. The nurse that was alongside Donald Pleasance when Michael Myers escaped, she was in it. Who else did we have in there? I remember a character called Lonnie, one of the kids. He was in there. And the montage at the beginning, the 15-minute montage, which takes you back to 1978, was really well done. Very cleverly done. Some footage in there of Donald Pleasance. I'm not going to spoil it for you and tell you what happens, but obviously we all know that there's a final instalment to come next year, which is called Halloween Ends, and I absolutely cannot wait to see that. Really looking forward to that one. But yeah, that gets a thumbs up and a 10 out of 10 from me. That was a really excellent follow-up to Halloween, without a doubt. So I'd recommend Halloween Kills if you've not seen it yet. Shortly I'm going to be publishing another review on the website. This week I've gone for a little bit of 70s sleaze from 1977. Joan Collins in The Stud, made in 1978. Cracking movie, absolutely love it. It got panned something rotten by the critics when it came out, but I absolutely loved it. I mean, how can you not love Joan Collins and a really good disco soundtrack? Superb. So I'll be publishing a review of that on the website a little bit later on. If you'd like to pop over and have a read of that, that'd be appreciated. What have I bought this week? Just a quick roundup. Yes, Stuart Lloyd, I know, I promised I wasn't going to buy anything else this week, but I did, so there. This one's called The Monster. Made in 1976, starring the aforementioned Joan Collins. It was also known as I Don't Want to Be Born. This is a classic little movie. It's not brilliant, but I really enjoyed it. It's basically a child, a little baby possessed, conceived by the devil. Only she knows what her baby really is. I believe this has got Donald Pleasance in. Yep, Joan Collins, Eileen Atkins, and Ralph Bates. So I'm going to be watching that at some point. I've seen it before, but really enjoyed it. What I'll do is I'll pop the trailer on the channel a bit later on. You can have a look at it, see what you think. But I really enjoyed that. And I saw an excerpt from this on TV last week and thought, that looks really good. Had a real job finding it, but got there eventually. The Orphanage, Guillermo del Toro, who did Pan's Labyrinth. I've not seen it. It's subtitled. It's a ghost story. Know very little about it, but really looking forward to having a look at that one when I can find the time. And I also got a little order from Renowned Pictures, which is, I believe, an offshoot of Talking Pictures TV. And this is the first item I ordered. I believe it's called, Reel to Reel, My Life in Film, by Noel Cronin. Now, Noel Cronin, for those of you that don't know, is the man that started Talking Pictures TV, which has now got something like 6 million viewers every day. It's probably the most successful independent TV channel in the country, without a doubt. But this is the story of that man himself, which I'm really looking forward to having a read of. I've got about 5 pages down already. I'm loving it. He was a mailroom boy at Rank, I believe, or something like that. Yeah. And he's met all the major stars. I'll be able to tell you a lot more of this when I've read it. I'm going to be getting into that one within the next week or so. And also, thought I'd treat myself to the Talking Pictures TV calendar for 2022. You've got, it's the first time I've even opened this actually. I think it's just pictures and posters of various movies. But that will hang very nicely above the desk here. There you go. Is that Joan Sims? Yeah, it is Joan Sims in her younger days. But that's available from Renowned Pictures, December. Got a lot of screws, haven't you? But that's the Talking Pictures calendar for 2022. So if you want to grab a copy of that one, it's on a site called. I'll see if I can put a link under the video actually, where you can get these things from. My final word this week is on Squid Games. My God, I've heard nothing but Squid Games all week. I put the TV on Monday night, and on 3 different channels, during 3 different programs, they referenced Squid Games. Guys at work have been talking about Squid Games all week. All I can tell you, if you've never seen it or heard of it, it's some kind of a futuristic sport where people kill each other or something like that. I need to have a look at this, basically just out of curiosity. I want to know what the hell we're dealing with here. But I'll try and catch the first episode of that sometime over the weekend or sometime next week and give you my thoughts on that one next week. But it's certainly popular. Like I say, I've been at work all week and I've heard no end of people talking about this thing. And many people have said to me, have you not seen it? No, I haven't seen it, no. It's on Netflix if you want to take a look and let me know what you think about it. But I'll be taking in the first episode at some point. I think a lot of the guys at work have binge watched it and seen it all. Can't do that. I don't have the time for that anymore. But I'll let you know what I think of Squid Games at the end of the week when I've actually had a watch of it. Right, that's it for today. I'm trying to limit it to just under 20 minutes so that I can get it through the software without it timing out on me. So enjoy your weekend, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed the video, just give me a thumbs up and subscribe. That would be absolutely brilliant. And I'll be back with you next weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week, and I will talk to you all again very soon. And thanks for joining me. Cheers. Bye bye.